Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us for the first of 5 modules as part of our virtual Indigenous Climate Action program. I am Leanne, and I am the lead educator with ICAP. So, when I say the word home, what do you think of? What do you picture? Close your eyes for a minute. Home. What do you see? What do you see in your mind's eye? Do you picture or do you think of the house that you sleep in, where you eat and spend some of your free time? Now, does your house provide everything that you need to live? Maybe on first thought it might. What do we actually need to live? What does any animal need to live? Because after all, humans are animals as well. Certainly, we need a safe place, a shelter to live, and that is exactly what our house provides, or a nest, a burrow, a den, a lodge, just to name a few different types of homes, or houses, I should say. What else do we need to survive? And not just survive, but thrive. What do you think? Did you say food? Water? What about each other, our friends, our family and community? Let's take that a step further. Where does your food come from? Where does your water come from? When we are in our house, if we're lucky, we are able to turn on a tap and get water that is safe to drink. Or we can open our fridge and it will be full of good food that we can eat. But where does that food and water come from? Yeah, we can get the food at the grocery store. There's lots of food there, right? But how does the food get to the grocery store? Where does it come from? And so when we really start to think about it, I think it becomes clear pretty quickly that the house we live in provides shelter. But of all the other elements that we need to survive, that's food, water, good air, community. They come from the land, from each other, from Mother Earth, from the environment. And we are, in fact, completely dependent on our environment to live. So, how is it that we can call our home a home? How can we call our house our home if really everything we need to live isn't there? Because in fact, our home and our habitat are completely intertwined. It is my great honor to introduce to you our Indigenous knowledge holder today, Chief Gordon Plennis of Sauk First Nation, who's been chief since 2008. First, you'll see him talking to us about what home means from an Indigenous perspective.
You look at a First Nation concept of a home, it is not your house. A home is your territory. And that's the true meaning of First Nations and their home compared to where I live on an Indian reserve. The village is called Sayosin, means the sounds the pebbles make when it's being washed up on our shores. But you got to understand, I got 10 homes. I got 10 villages. They encompass the whole territory, and it goes 40 kilometers towards Cowichan. It goes 75, 100 kilometers up the coast of the Northern Straits. And that's our home. And our home was meaning that all of our resources are spread out along the whole territory. And it is our unwritten Indigenous natural law to take care of that home and the food forest and the water, which protects all the trees and all of those medicines and the roots, shoots, and berries. And it goes into the river system, and it helps the salmon, the return of the salmon, of course, but also it is connected to everything. So our home means something different than your home, and that is that we have a big home. And all First Nations, all Indigenous people in Canada have big homes. our home is the whole territory that stretches out, and it is a garden. It's a food forest. It's a place that has the medicine. It's a place that belongs to the four-leggeds. It's for all living things, and we have a responsibility to take care of it.
Chief Plennis teaches us that the number one consideration is elders. They are an important part of home, which encapsulates both the environment and the people that live within it, and the knowledge that comes from them about home.
In our community, well, our elders come first. So when you think about it, you think about their health and safety. Why would we do that to our elders? Well, they're the knowledge keepers. They're the ones that talk about our home. And they're the ones that are going to help us the next 50 years to the next 100 years to ensure that our culture stays strong. We're always enhancing our territory. We're ensuring that cultural health for our children. And then also we need to ensure a healthy environment, because if not, what are we leaving them? Because if we think about our territory as a home, we will maintain it.
As a great example, Chief Plennis talks about how the ocean is just as much a part of home as part of Indigenous territory as the land. It's another type of highway where animals, including humans, travel. And he shares with us the need to respect our environment and the importance of intergenerational knowledge in navigating this part of home. Importantly, this knowledge, these teachings, are useful for both Indigenous and settler populations, and sharing, valuing this information among all people is a really important part of reconciliation.
The deer and the animals, they make the trails. So we identify the trails because we know that they'll take the right ones. And also the water is a trail. So it's easy to know your territory. All you have to do is follow that water course. And when you do take the ocean as a highway, it is all done with respect, because with our canoes we rely on the tides, the winds, and the paddle, and then also the teachings, because the teachings that go back hundreds of years, and people that move here don't understand them. And if I was, I'll give you an example of that. If I was to travel down the straits, northern straits of the Salish Sea, and I was going to go south, I would actually go the opposite direction. And because it's a strait that goes across about 17 kilometers for the width, is that I would take the tide out, and when the tide turns, I would be in the middle of the straits, and when the tide turns, I would get to my destination faster than if I went straight towards it. And those are the kind of teachings that are important, because my uncle taught me that. Because I asked, "Uncle, why are we going the other way?" He says, "Follow me and I'll teach you." And he taught me. And that's so important to learn, because when you get across the straits, halfway is the roughest weather. And when you're in that rough weather, because of you have rolling sea, that you're going sideways in a canoe like this. And you got water pouring into the canoe, and it's terrible. When I followed my uncle, and we went out with the outgoing tide and turned around and came in with the ingoing tide with a sail, it was flat calm, and I was going with it, and you went faster, and it was like, wow. And it was like, and I said, "Where did you learn this?" I said, "Uncle, where did you learn all this?" And he says, "My dad brought me across when I was about 5 years old, and it was just me and him. And back at those days, when you went to a village, you stayed there for a week. You didn't stay for a day. And you came back with the tide as well." So I said, well, that is something that you need to remember. Those are gifts. That's what we hand down to our children. That's a gift that one of our elders learnt when they were back in 1930, and that was a little while ago. So all those things are so important. Environment, the Creator will teach us how to take care of ourselves, and they always have, but we will get in time complacent on how to take care of ourselves. And those teachings are there. We cannot forget them. Imagine people that moved here from different countries around the world, and with them they bring those values from other countries. But as Indigenous people, we are grounded to our territories and the teachings where we are on this land right here. And I think that's the gift that we need to take advantage of.
Further, Chief teaches us about listening to Mother Earth, paying attention to our environment, to understand what is happening in our home. Here he shares with us a beautiful story about how killer whales came with a message about needing to take care of our home.
That's a big part of it too, is listening to what Mother Earth is telling us, because I don't think we're listening to it. It gives us signals all the time, but we're not listening to what it's doing today. There's killer whales that came right inside here, and they came in and they splashed and they jumped out of the water, and I've never had them that close before. And I went to the elders and asked why the killer whales came so close. He says, they were talking to us. They're telling us something. And I said, what was that? And they said that they're saying that you need to do something soon, because if you don't, you won't see us again. That's what the killer whales were telling us. So we got to all think about that, because we got this gift sitting right there, and it's in our house. This is our house right here. And that home out there is the killer whale's home. And he came in because he had a concern. So now we have to listen to him.
From Chief Plennis, we learn that a house may be a building that you live in, but home is the environment. It is Mother Earth, and it is the teachings shared with us by Mother Earth, from ancestral knowledge, and by our elders. Thus, we all have a responsibility to invest in our home, to take care of Mother Earth for current and future generations.
So all I'm saying is that if you're going to want to live in a beautiful environment and have a good life for your children, we have to invest in it individually. We need to invest in it. I think that what people learn from that is that we all work together for Mother Earth. And people feel a sense of pride that inside them, they're playing a part of keeping Mother Earth clean. And so the water will be clean. And if you do good things for Mother Earth, then Mother Earth does good things for us. And I think that's the messaging that we don't talk about enough. So in the Coast Salish terms, what does that mean? It was our birthright, it was our responsibility to enhance our territory, our home, every year. I think that is a birthright and an opportunity for all Canadians, all of us, to enhance the environment every year. It's an investment. It's a currency that people only see currency as a dollar bill or a ledger and from a bank note. I just truly believe that if you look back there and the beautiful environment and looking what the territory looks like right now, and then maybe in 20 years it'll be a lot better, and then that is an investment into your children's future. I want to ensure that they have better amounts of water in 20 years than we have now. I want to make sure that if those trees grow bigger, that will ensure better water quality. Can we make that investment? We have to talk to everyone that lives around here to buy into that, and that's going to be hard to do. But we have to do it. Those are the hard things we got to do. And so maybe there's a opportunity now to really change the way we can do something that will have a legacy. And if we do have a legacy, that means that we have actually done what we're supposed to do, what we were told to do, what the elders tells us, what our ancestors told us. And that is that we need to invest in our home. And that's where we got to get.